Hello there. If you're new to me, if you're new to the channel, my name is Samara Kasai and I am a spiritual business coach. I have about 5 years of experience running my own business and 4 years of experience being a coach. It is absolutely my favorite work to do, and today in this video we are going to get you organized, we're going to get you focused, and you're going to leave this video with all the tools to know exactly what you are focusing on in this next season of business. Now, if you're like me, you are probably aware that there are so many different things that you could be doing to grow your business, but there are only a small handful of things that are going to work for you. And the million-dollar question, how do you know what's going to work for you? We're going to answer that. We're going to answer that today in this video. You're going to leave this video knowing exactly what matters most to you, exactly what you are going to be spending your time doing in this next chapter of your business. So let's get into it. So the first thing that you need to get very, very clear on is, what is your vision for your business? Now, I might have a vision for your business, and every business coach online probably has a vision for your business, but you need to be in charge and you need to know for a fact, this is what I want my business to look like. This is how many clients I want to have. This is what I want to help them with, right? These are the kinds of conversations I want to be having, and these are the kinds of conversations with clients that I don't want to be having. And just start to get really clear for yourself, like, what does my ideal business look like? And then we can even expand that out to go beyond clients. What kind of platforms do you want to have online? Do you feel like you are drawn to TikTok? Do you feel like you're drawn to podcasting? Do you feel like you're drawn to Instagram? Like, where do you feel organically drawn to show up, and why? Why these platforms and not others? Where do you see yourself really creating that home base for your community, where this is how people find you, and this is how people become aware of you, and this is the place where people connect to you deeply and decide in their hearts that they want to be a client? Like, what does that look like for you? What's the ideal way for you to really connect with people and to cultivate that home base online? A couple of things for you to just think about. We're going to go way deeper into this over the course of the video, but the reason that this is so meaningful and so important, and the reason why you're the only one that can really do this work, is because you're going to need help, right? You're one person. You're gonna have to get some kind of guidance and some kind of support as you grow this thing, but you never want to get support and guidance from people who are not gonna help you create what you actually want to create. And so you might have someone who is online and they're saying, I'm gonna give you the perfect Instagram strategy to grow your business, but you don't really want Instagram. Instagram isn't on your heart. Or you might have someone say, I'm going to teach you how to sell out a course, but courses are not on your heart. You don't really want to do courses. And there are so many spiritual entrepreneurs who are just like blowing in the wind, following whatever anyone else says that they'll help them do, because they haven't done this work of getting clear, like, what is it that matters to you? And then lining up your support system with people who are going to help you do what you know is right for you. And so this is the easiest way to get sidetracked, is like, you have no internal sense of direction, you're not even sure what you really want for your own business, and then all of a sudden you get shiny object syndrome, as is common for people, right? It's like, you get shiny object syndrome, and all of a sudden you're like, well, that person seems to be doing really well, and they seem really happy, and they seem like their business is always full, and so I'm gonna latch on to them and do whatever they do. And then all of a sudden you've built this thing that like looks nothing like what you wanted it to look like, and you find yourself either having to start over or just being unfulfilled and frustrated. And we don't want any of that for you. We want you to build the business that you feel put on this earth to build. We want you to build the thing that is most in line with your heart. And before we even talk about, like, you know, how to prioritize how many days a week to work, before we talk about how to prioritize, how many days a week to work, what to say yes to, what to say no to, any of that stuff, you have to know, and you're the only one that knows, what it is you are actually here to do with your business. And once you know that, the decisions almost make themselves. Like, it becomes very easy because you can sort everything into a bucket of like, aligns with my vision, doesn't align with my vision, aligns with my vision, doesn't align with my vision. And it will just become so much easier from there. So over the course of this video, I'm going to be giving you my best exercises and examples of just like journal prompts, tips, things that you can implement so that you are always clear on what your vision is and how you are going to stay true to it for the long haul so that you can build the business you actually want to build, and so that you don't get sidetracked doing whatever you see other people doing just because it seems like it's working for them. So the first thing that I want you to really reflect on here is your why. Why do you have a spiritual business in the first place? Of all the things you could be doing with your life, with your career, why this thing? Why does this even matter to you? And you can reflect on this in a couple ways, right? You can journal through it, you can go on a walk and contemplate it, you can bring it to meditation, you can pull cards about it, but you need to understand very clearly for yourself why exactly this is the thing that you've chosen to do. Because we live in a world of options. We live in a world where there are so many different things that you could be doing for money. There are so many different things that you could be doing with your skills, with your talents. Why do you want to do this? Like, why is this the thing that you've chosen to do and to dedicate yourself to? So get clear on your why. And then also zoom that out and look at, like, why does this contribute to your vision for the world? So not just like, why is this going to help you and why is this fulfilling for you, which of course is very important, but when you think about the contribution that you're here to make on the planet, how does what you're doing with your business align to the world that you want to see and the world that you want to be a part of? So for example, with me, being a spiritual business coach aligns with the world I want to see, because I want to live in a world where everyone who feels called to dedicate themselves to healing humanity, to using their gifts and talents to help people evolve, and to just like opening up those opportunities for people who maybe have felt really weighed down by trauma or really disconnected from spirit and disconnected from their heart. Those people who, you know, us, the people who are called to really bridge that gap for people and help people come home to themselves, I want to help those people succeed in their businesses. I want to help those people get to the point where that's all they have to focus on is their healing work and enjoying their own lives, right? And not feeling like they have to do a bunch of other jobs, not feeling like they have to compromise and do work that isn't this important so that they can pay their bills. Like, my goal, my vision, my mission here is to help healers create sustainable, reliable businesses that they can count on to give them all the money that they need so that they can focus on helping people heal, helping people evolve, helping people grow. That's my why. That's my why for why this matters to me, and that's also my why for the world I want to create. The vision that I have for this world is a world where everyone who's called to be a healer can be a healer, and there's no obstacles in their way. And so, why does this matter to you, and how does this tie into your vision for the world? You can go ahead and reflect on that now, or you can write this down and come back to it, but we're going to move into the next set of questions. So the next thing that we're going to think about is your ideal business. When you think about your business, what is the highest possible expression that you can come up with? So is it a business where you have a lot of one-to-one clients, you're doing very deep work and you're taking people on journeys? Is it a business where you're leading big cohorts of people through courses? Is it a business where you have, you know, a bunch of meetings throughout your week where you're really having good conversations and you're connecting with people? Is it a business where maybe you're more low-key, working behind the scenes and putting stuff out there for people to consume in their own time? Think about the kind of day-to-day you want to have, and think about the business that would really line up with that. And then also think about the kind of impact that you want to make, the kind of results that you want your clients to get, right? So ideally, what are the results that people would be getting after they work with you? And how can you orient your business so that everything that you're doing is helping people get those results? And if you have a project or something come to mind and you like the idea of it, but you don't see how it would help your clients get those type of results, maybe you don't focus on it, maybe let someone else do it. Because you're called, again, not just to create something really awesome for yourself, which 100% matters, but you're called to make a contribution. So when you're clear on the kinds of results you want to help your clients get, it can help you filter out, okay, of the various things I could be doing right now in my business, what are the things that are going to help my clients get the best results? What are the things that are going to help my clients get results that line up with the kind of results I feel called to help them get, right? And so this might mean you're going to do some digging into, what can I really help people with? What have I overcome and learned? What is the thing that I'm so happy I know how to do that I can help someone else do, right? If you're not clear on what kind of results you're here to help people get, take some time to really sit with, like, what is the impact of working with me? Or what is the impact I want to have on people's lives if you are not already like doing client work, or maybe if you want to pivot or reorient yourself? What is the most meaningful result that I could help somebody get from where I am right now? And so the reason I'm saying from where you are right now is because you might feel tempted to say, well, I want to help people do something that I haven't even done yet. And when you have those visions come to you, don't disregard them. Write them down, keep them somewhere special, but know that you have to go first. Like, if I was to say my vision is to help healers become millionaires, I haven't become a millionaire as a healer. I need to go on that journey myself, learn how to do that, and then actually be in the position to help other people. But there are things I can help people do now. I can help you build a 6-figure business right now. And so that's the result that I can like show up for and know that everything I'm doing is here to help people do that. And so for you, money is always a tangible example because there's numbers involved, but for you, you might have a vision of like, this is what I would love to help people do one day, knowing that you are still on that journey yourself. But then you might have another vision of like, this is what I can help people do from right where I am. And this is the piece of that bigger vision that I am feeling called to work with people on right here, right now. And so get clear on all of this. Like, what are the results I want to help my clients get? And that's a part of your ideal business. And then what does my day-to-day look like? And that's another part of your ideal business. Like, what do you want for your lifestyle? Like, do you want to wake up? So for example, for me, I don't use an alarm. I just wake up. I have a long morning routine where I do a lot of journaling. I do my own workout, breath work, meditation. I make myself breakfast. I sit and have my coffee. Like, my mornings are just really relaxed. They're me filling my own cup. And then in the afternoon, the evening is when I'm doing my work for my business, right? I set my business up so that my days can go that way. I recently had to make a change where my podcast was coming out on Mondays at 9 a.m. And I recently realized I don't like that the podcast comes out on Mondays at 9 a.m. because that means that on Mondays, just given the workflow that we have right now, on Mondays, my long morning gets interrupted by the podcast, and I don't want that. I don't want the podcast to feel like an interruption, and I want to have my long morning. So we have to move the podcast publication time to later in the day so that I can have my long morning and still get the podcast out. So as you're thinking about what's your ideal day, that will just help you prioritize anyway of like, I'm not going to do something that jeopardizes the kind of day and the kind of life I want to have. And I'm not going to do something that doesn't directly tie into me helping my clients get the results that I want them to get. And so things to think about there, knowing your ideal business. Let's get into some other exercises. So in this section of the video, we're going to talk about how to stay on track and how to avoid getting that shiny object syndrome sidetrack thing that we talked about earlier in the video. So the first thing that I want you to do is limit the extent to which you compare yourself to other people's businesses. I just released a video last week about how to trust the timing of your own business, because I'm really finding that the reason people compare themselves so much to other people's businesses is because they want to know if they're on the right track, right? They want to know if their business is growing as quickly as it should, if there's something that they should be doing to make it grow faster. And that video is 25 minutes long. It's all about how to trust your own timing. But if you're comparing yourself to someone else, it's because you don't trust the timing of your own business. You really are convinced that your business should be going faster because you see someone else's business and it looks different than yours. And so watch that video, let that video support you. But I also really want to encourage you to mute, unfollow, do whatever you need to do. If there's someone who, like, every time you see them online, you just can't help but compare yourself to them, let go. Just don't consume their content. Don't pay attention to that person, because it's just not supporting you. It's not supporting your clients. It's not supporting the thing that you are put here on this earth to build. So limit comparison. I also want you to create time where all you do is reflect and check in on what's been happening with your business. So I do quarterly check-ins inside my Conscious Cash Creation membership, and that is a time for us to spend, literally sometimes these check-ins will be like 3 hours long. But that's a time for us to really dedicate to looking at, like, what happened last quarter, what are we stepping into for the next quarter, and how does all of this align with our visions and goals. And by the time we end those quarterly planning sessions, we know exactly what matters and what we're going to focus on for the next 3 months. And you can do something similar for yourself, whether you want to do it quarterly, monthly. You can even do a small version of this weekly. There was a season in my business where I was doing a lot of weekly reviews, and I actually kind of did one last Sunday, and I thought it was really helpful. There was one key thing I noticed that, like, helped me make a really good decision this upcoming week. So ask yourself, like, how often does it matter to me that I check in on my business and see how things are going and just reorient myself? Because without even knowing it, we can get, like, sidetracked again. We can get ideas, they feel really juicy, we run in that direction, we realize it's not really what we need to be doing. And so whether it's every week, every month, every quarter, have periods of time where all you do is reflect and understand, what have I been doing? How has that been going for me? And what do I want to do moving forward? So limit comparison, and then have regular time to reflect on what you're doing and just check in on yourself. And if you implement those two things, that's going to keep you ideally from getting sidetracked and getting too far off in left field when you're thinking about what you're doing in your business. So this is going to help you actually stay true to your priorities. Okay, so now I want to talk to you a little bit about realigning before we bring this video to a close. Let's say you did your quarterly check-in and you realized that you've been focusing on some stuff that does not align to your core values. It doesn't align to your ideal business. It's just not the move. And regardless of why you started doing that thing, your next step is to realign. So you might notice, and this depends on how long you've been doing the misaligned thing or what exactly that is, but you might notice that you need to actually, like, gradually remove yourself from that situation rather than just saying, okay, I'm done, we're cutting it all off. So for example, if the majority of your clients have been coming to you through LinkedIn, but you're realizing that LinkedIn is not a part of your ideal business, you need to realign your marketing efforts to focus on what actually is true for you and what's going to be aligned moving forward. But that doesn't mean that you need to completely ghost all of the people on LinkedIn who you've built connections with. You need to create a stepping stone process so that you can still continue to build upon whatever you accomplished through the misaligned thing and continue to put things in place to have the business that you want to have moving forward. So if that's you, the first thing that I want you to realize is what you have built in the misaligned way is preparing you to be the version of yourself that you actually want to be. It's all preparation. And I want you to actually take that to meditation or reflect on it somehow. How has showing up in this misaligned way prepared me really well to show up in the way that I actually feel called to show up? And I'll just give a brief example from my own business. I have had a on and off relationship with Instagram. I have realized that I don't think Instagram is my primary platform. It's not the place where I want everyone to expect me and to find me. And I'm grateful that people expect me on Instagram. I'm grateful that people find me on Instagram. I'm grateful that majority, if not 100% of my clients have come from Instagram. And when I think about 10 years of that, I'm like, oh God, like it doesn't feel like the highest and best for my business. I do know though that Instagram is where I established camera presence. Instagram is where I learned how to develop my own authentic voice, where I learned how to talk about what I do, where I learned how to really show up online as a spiritual business owner and as a healer and as someone who could help people change their lives. And so Instagram 100% prepared me for the version of business that I really do desire. And I'm grateful to it for that. So you have to understand, how did this thing that is no longer in alignment for you prepare you? What transferable skills, what experience, what wisdom did you gain that you're going to bring with you into this next chapter? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, I want you to really practice, and this is going to be depending upon, again, the specifics of your situation, so I'm not going to go too detailed into this, but you need to have a way to build on the success you've already cultivated. And what I want to remind you of, if we're using this example of like a way of finding clients that no longer aligns, remember that what you've built is not based on a platform, it's based on human connection. And the humans that you have connected with you because of who you are. So there's people who connected with me on Instagram initially, but they will be with me wherever I go. There's people, and I'll just give you an example too with offerings. There's people who took my tarot course in my first year of business who are in my Conscious Cash Creation membership right now. And why is that? That's because they made a connection with me. And so even though I changed what I was doing when it was no longer in alignment for me to be a tarot teacher, they had already built an established connection with me, and I was the one that they trusted to help them build their healing businesses. And so for you, it's the same thing. They have built a connection with you, and they're going to follow you wherever you go because of your energy. And so remember that it is okay to gradually move in a new direction, and everyone who's meant to be along for the ride is always going to be along for the ride with you. So those are some things to keep in mind as you're realigning and as you are having to make hard decisions about, like, you know, this is something that was working for me that now I'm going to taper off and start doing this other thing. Remember that the human beings involved are always going to stick with you as long as you are being valuable to them, as long as you're showing up as a resource, providing meaningful insights, being the same version of you that you've been in terms of like having your heart to serve, knowing that you have value to offer. Like, as long as you're showing up in service, the people who you're serving are going to stay with you. And so there's nothing to worry about in terms of pivoting. I've pivoted so many times. There's nothing to worry about in terms of pivoting, in terms of changing platforms, in terms of anything like that. The realignment process is really just honoring, like, what are the transferable skills and what are the things that I can trust people to stick with me on because they've seen me go on this journey together. So that is the realignment. The last thing I want to say to you, don't be afraid to say no to stuff that no longer aligns with your vision. Don't be afraid to say no to stuff. If people are used to you showing up in a certain way, they might ask you to keep showing up in that way. If you need to change your prices, people might ask you, well, can you do it for a lower price? And you're going to have to tell them no. People might ask you, can you do this Instagram live? And you're really aware for yourself, I'm tapering off of Instagram. I'm not going to take on something that is Instagram related right now because I'm moving away from that platform, right? So like, give yourself the opportunity to practice saying no to stuff that at one point you would have said yes to, but now you have to say no because you're moving in a different direction. That's okay, but you got to practice and you got to be willing to say no, even if it's something that you used to be a yes for. You're just a no for it now, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone evolves, but expect that you're going to have to start saying no to things as you make this realignment, readjustment process. All right, I think that's it for me. If you loved this video, go ahead and let me know in the comments how this landed for you, anything it brought up. If you want to share things like your ideal business or your core values in the comments, that could give people some really good ideas as they're doing their own brainstorming. If there are things that you're saying yes to or saying no to now as a result of this conversation, go ahead and let us know there so that we can cheer you on. And if you are not already subscribed to the channel, make sure that you subscribe. I'm going to be sharing new messages just like this every single week, and you'll also get to follow along on my journey of getting the channel monetized. All right, I love you so much, and I'll see you in another video. Take care.